Welcome to Make Sylacauga Healthy Again. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathon Douglas of Broadway Spinal Care. And today we're talking about mental health, which when we're talking about health really should be the place that we start. And if you've never heard it, I want you to look up a song by Ella Fitzgerald called Brighten the Corner Where You Are. Tara and I have been so lucky in our career because in the chiropractic world, what we get to do every day is see people who are struggling and help them get out of struggle. And in my opinion, there's no better way to brighten your own little corner. A lot of people think in life that there's going to be some grand thing that happens and they can make some big difference in society. And that sometimes happens for some people. But for most people, if your purpose in life becomes more brightening your own little corner, and if everybody starts brightening their own little corner, then the whole world gets a little brighter. And when we moved back to Sylacauga, Tara and I transitioned. We had a huge practice in Washington, and we didn't want to do that again. So she brightens every corner she finds. Beautification counsel, helps with the chamber, helps with the hospital, helps with a million things. And I tried to find out how Jonathon can fit in to Sylacauga. This Make Sylacauga Healthy Again is something I think I can help with. But the thing I started with was starting the pickleball group. And I really had no idea how important and how far-reaching that could be. And I would tell you that that's actually the thing I probably enjoy the most, is seeing that little bright corner every week. So I'm going to talk to someone today who understands how bright that corner is, and we're going to talk about how it might be able to help brighten your corner. Stay tuned. So I'm joined today with my buddy Mark McDonald. He has a child, Aubrey, who is spirited, I would say. Would you say? Yes, spirited. And so I met him about 2.5 years ago now, which seems like a long time. And so his child is at Veritas, and they didn't really have any kind of sports program. And so they brought me in and they said, can we start a tennis pickleball kind of group? And to tell you the truth, when I first walked in and saw the kids, they were not very athletic. No. And I was concerned that maybe we wouldn't be able to do a pickleball group, to tell you the truth. I would say now, I wish I'd made a video, because I would say now if we looked at those kids and the way they move, the ones who have been serious about it, that they're different kids.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
the way that, yeah. So tell me about Aubrey and her journey with this whole pickleball thing.
It's funny, because just like you say, she's not naturally athletic, and so sports, she's tried a few things, you know, before pickleball came along. But she took a pretty good interest in it, I guess probably primarily just to have something to do to start with, you know.
Sure.
And I have been pleasantly surprised at her development, I guess is the right word for it. Although she's better, way better in a lot of ways than I am. So
that's true.
For whatever that's worth.
That's true. That is true.
For whatever that's worth, it sort of eats me a little bit, because as it turns out, I'm the most competitive person in our household.
Yes.
So, it's been good for her, and it's really good, really for our family, because it was something that I started looking for, just opportunity, you know, to do things with your family. And she's at that age now, it won't be long, she won't care about hanging out with Daddy anymore.
True.
So every little thing we can do that we can enjoy together is a good thing.
Yeah, and to give you a little background, here's a picture of the kids out. We have a Childersburg tennis and pickleball camp that we do in the summers, and these are the kids learning how to pass the ball around a circle, which is actually quite a hard thing to do. And Aubrey's there in the very back in black. When Mark started this pickleball thing, and this is one of the focuses I'd like to have today, he didn't really seem to have much interest in being on the court. Now, that was not something that was on his radar, and that's something we see with these families that come in, is the kids come, and then the parents say, you know, maybe I can hit a few balls.
Yeah.
And then now, you want to be on court more than her.
All the time, yeah.
All the time, yeah.
It's funny, too, because you start out thinking, honestly, I thought, well, I can't do this. You know, I'm older, and as you know, I have to go to the chiropractor all the time, and so on and so forth. but it's not as bad physically as a lot of, it's not like football or something like that. And although it is quite physically demanding once you get started, but it's good exercise. And one of the few things that I regret in life is not being more active, playing sports, exercise, and that sort of thing. When I was 20, as opposed to waiting until I was 50 to start. And so it's been really good for me. I tell people all the time, if I felt like it and had the time, I'd play every day.
Yeah, and it becomes addictive, and I think it becomes addictive. So when we started pickleball, I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I taught the first lesson out there, I had never hit a pickleball. Really? I grew up playing and teaching tennis my whole life, right? But I thought, you're hitting a ball. It's so very different from tennis. It's such a good lead into tennis, though. And I talk to the kids all the time about how I really want you to play on tennis team and play tennis, because pickleball moves so slowly. It feels like sometimes it's moving fast, right? But it moves so slowly in comparison to tennis. So it's a really good way for somebody who maybe doesn't have a sport or hasn't ever done it to not be intimidated, because a tennis ball moves so fast. But as the intro, pickleball can be such a good way to transition to doing other sports. Or if you never transition, it's an amazing thing too. But
well, and like you say, you see people of all ages playing, because it is slow enough for a lot of times that even if you can't move very well or very quickly, you can still play and have a good time.
Absolutely.
And any movement is better than no movement. So I'm a big advocate for anything you can do. Do something. Something's always better than nothing.
That's exactly right. And so I was talking to Randy about pickleball the other day and what we accomplished out there. So one thing I think we've accomplished, and I'm talking about health of Sylacauga, the community we've built is unbelievable, because there are people out there that never would have met each other, right? I mean, from very different walks of life and different schools or whatever, and they've become great friends. And we've got families that are exercising together. And I've got 1.5-year-olds now. That's my young. Actually, I've got strollers, but I mean they're not hitting balls yet. But we got 1.5 up to almost 80 years old that are out there. And you and I have talked about community quite a lot, and how kids don't interact with their elders as much as they should. And you see that on the courts.
Well, and that's again a positive thing. I grew up with the benefit of being around older people a lot, working and whatnot. And learning to respect authority and so on and so forth. And a lot of kids these days, I don't think, get enough of that. So any time that they can interact with older people and, show them the respect that they deserve through their lifespan is a good thing. Learning discipline and how to behave and pay attention, that's probably the biggest thing that I notice with kids and their kids, is their attention span. A lot of times they're not listening to coach, and makes me want to pull my hair out.
It does me too.
Well, you don't show it, so good for you.
It does me too. But I think that if the thing I usually hear from people when I talk them into coming and seeing pickleball, or at least come watch it. Usually people will come watch, and then usually they get on court too and try. But they talk about how much laughter there is out there. In some sports, like especially with tennis, you have to know someone and set up a match and go play. With pickleball, you just show up, right? And you can make friends.
Oh, yeah, we've had several people, me and Aubrey, just out there hitting balls, and somebody says, hey, y'all want to play? And people, we have no idea who they are. And you sort of make friends or whatever, or see them again later and play some more later. So it's a real good way to interact with people. And, that's always a good thing. It's kind of like me and you, I suspect, had it not been for the tennis and the pickleball thing, I may have never met you.
That's true. We would not.
Even living in this little bitty town, we would have just passed by and never had a clue.
Yeah, I think that's quite true. And there's a philosophy of teaching children, and I think it makes sense from watching kids over the years. We don't have kids, but I've watched enough kids progress in life. And if you can teach a child to be successful at something, it doesn't even matter what, but if they can be diligent with it, and if they can learn how to do something like, let's say, play the piano or hit pickleballs, then they learn that it takes hard work. They have to listen to people who have already been there. They have to make friends that help them achieve this goal. And the more they work at it and the better they get at it, then the next thing they hit is a challenge. So let's say they get to college and they got to get a degree, right? Well, they can apply their pickleball. Well, if it's just like pickleball, if I apply myself, if I listen to the instructors, if I work hard, then I end up being successful. So the kids who end up being the most successful are the ones who learn in life to do something special for themselves, usually different than the parents also, because it's important for them to have a different path.
Oh, absolutely, because I never, even when I was a kid, I never played any kind of sport. You know, I worked, and of course we played out in the yard here and there, and we
Sure.
probably did that wrong, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But I think I see the benefit of kids being able to be involved in sports and stuff like that. If nothing else, it's good for their health.
Absolutely.
You know, if they never accomplish anything as far as being on teams and that sort of thing, it's good for their health. You can't go wrong with that.
It's good for mental health and it's good for overall.
Oh yeah, the stress relief, because you can't think about something else when somebody's whacking balls at you left and right. You have to focus.
That's the truth. Appreciate you being on today.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
So this is one thing we wanted to leave you with. So this is a statistic. Pickleball players may surpass tennis by 2026, and it is the truth. And I think I'm taking a course right now, actually, on a tennis certification course, and they're talking a lot about how we use pickleball as a lead into tennis and how important that can be because it's a really good starting point. And I think that's going to be, there's been a rivalry kind of between tennis and pickleball, and, you know, let's stay off each other's courts. But I think I know in the future that what it's going to be is let's teach these kids pickleball and then let's transition them to something different. And that's
maybe
really,
they can pick up and go from there.
that's really the way it is. If y'all want to learn some way to find community and to help brighten your little corner, then come out and try pickleball on a Tuesday night from 6 to 8. It's pretty amazing. It really is. And everybody who comes out comes away with a good experience. Even if you don't end up loving it, you'll at least see that the community is coming together, and you might meet some people that help you find something that you love also. We'll see you next time.